Sonny, Joey, 500. Got some goats in the building.
Get ready for a shakedown.
Prepare for a shakedown. We from Philly where they clap like huddles when they break down. Get ready for a shakedown. We underdogs, my guy. Kinda used to all the hate now. Prepare for it, man. Y'all get it. My QB got swag. My wideout is award winning. His fly was fly. Joey and 500. Like and subscribe. Yeah. Here's a quote you can sing back. Shake squad up and don't be a dingbat. It's a shakedown.
Don't you frown.
It's
Here
a
comes the shakedown.
Let's go.
You might the way kick Dingbat here, and welcome to the Philly Shakedown podcast with your hosts Philly 500 and Joey Shakes. What is happening today, my man? How are you?
I'm good, man. I feel like as the weeks go on, because we're in the slow process now, that I feel like I'm not going to, it doesn't feel like a week every time we do this podcast. And I feel like it's like a month. That's how slow everything's going to feel, you know?
Right.
So,
yeah, no doubt about it.
Good.
No doubt about it. It's that time of year where it's going to slow up and it's going to feel like a whole nother off season again. Mm-hmm. That's always the way it goes. What's going on, everybody? Daniel's here. Philly Oso's here. Eagles here. Tragic. My basement, MMA, Philly flavor shorts or flyover shorts flavor. I need glasses, dude. James Vanover, what's up, Neil? You're just too easy. That's what she said. PD Tatted. What is going on? Anybody I missed? Dave? Fabio, thank you for the chat, my man. Did I just go out there for a second?
Yeah, you're cutting out. You're cutting out.
Am I cutting out right now?
No, you're good.
How about now?
No.
Yeah, my internet looks like it's going wonky. Fabio, thank you for super tickles. What was the point of Devin Allen? I don't know. I mean, I guess they just never felt that he, they never felt he could do anything,
Well, there was, I think with him, there was a time where, he did the Olympic stuff in the off season, and I felt like he kind of had to pick one or the other. I think he got injured, and then it took him time for him to come back. And then, he showed a little bit of something, during preseason, but it just wasn't much. So the opportunities just weren't there, so. Yeah,
I mean, I thought that, him doing the whole other thing definitely took from it. I mean, it would have been nice to see him play, get a couple kickoff returns just to see how it goes. But, I mean, if you look at this team now, really, we've got a lot of returners all of a sudden, dude. All of a sudden, you got a lot. I don't even know if Covey's going to make this team because you got enough guys. You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think at wide receiver there'll be enough. I think he'll make it just because of I think there'll be enough room at wide receiver. But as of I think there is Will Shipley and some of these other guys, some of the speedsters that they definitely got. Like they brought in a lot of speed this offseason. Even just guys with speed, guys that never played football like that. Like that track star from Ohio State. They were just bringing in random guys. So it was nice that they're really trying to pick up more speed in this offense or special teams. So it's good.
Right, yeah. John Jones says, "Who's pitching for the Philly?" Oh, I think it's Nola. Tonight. Ben says, "Is the Kenny Pickett news true?" What?
The Kenny Pickett reports the stupid crap.
God, that's the most. I mean, like I said, man, I just think people are making, especially the media, making nothing, a mountain out of a molehill. Like, dude, he was throwing passes. Okay, maybe he threw a better pass in practice than Hurts. I don't know how you can possibly judge that he is outperforming him in the OTAs.
Second day.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's like, do we want a controversy? See, this is what I said. I said this when we got Kenny Pickett. I said, Joey, watch. I remember saying this. I said, we're going to go into preseason. Hurts is going to throw like an interception or something like that, and everybody's going to be calling for Pickett. You know it's going to happen. It didn't even take the preseason. We didn't even get the training camp. They did it in OTAs.
And that
I total nonsense of a story.
That news is coming from Rasiopo, whatever. That's Kenny Pickett's quarterback offseason coach or some shit like that.
Well, I don't even mind that he said what he said. To me, it's like, how do you get that piece of what he said? Because I read what he said, and it's like he never, like, you know, the way that different outlets and stuff made it sound like they insinuated that there was a quarterback battle going on, which was crazy. You know, I'm not worried about it at all. So I wouldn't put much stock into it at all. You know, now if we get into the season and Hurts is playing horrible and all of a sudden Pickett comes in and wins a game and something like that happens, then okay. But I don't see any of that happening, and I don't think. I get excited about OTAs. You can get excited about certain things, but you have to have it in context of it being OTA. Like, to act like there's a quarterback controversy.
But there was no stats for Pickett anyway, because like the report was, Jalen Hurts threw, it was on 7-on-7s. He was 7 for 7, mostly to AJ Brown. And then all the Pickett news was he threw more consistently. There was no stats. There was no. It was just that something thrown around.
No, they're in shorts. There's no rush. There's no defense. It's crazy. James, thank you for the super chat, my man. He goes, all into the last video. What do you think of Mechie 3 from Texas? Given that he has similar problem with wide receivers, like we do, cornerback, Bama reunion, Smitty, Hurts, Landon, and for a couple corners. I like Mechie, actually. I think it would be good. I did a video earlier today, Joey, talking about the need for an outside wide receiver. I still think that we need another wide receiver. And I don't say that in terms of you need a guy that's going to be somebody you have to count on all the time. I'm just saying, if Devontae Smith goes down, if A.J. Brown goes down, who are you putting in there? Who's stepping in? We really don't have somebody. I think Devontae Parker was that guy because I don't believe Parker was going to play in the slot. So I think they still need somebody that could come in and be decent on the outside.
Yeah, I mean, I even if the one thing you're getting with even if you make a trade for John Mechie, which now he's the odd man out now with the Texans, and now with him, kind of being on the trade block or kind of rumored to be on the trade block, he's got starting experience. He obviously had leukemia, had that whole thing that happened.
Right,
he's doing a lot better with that. That's great. So to give him a chance, what would it cost? Probably absolutely nothing. And it wouldn't shock me if they're going to try to use Anaya Smith at X, Y, and Z. They're going to move everybody around. God forbid if Devontae Smith or someone else goes down, they have to have a plan B. But I think this comes to about with Kellen Moore really distributing the football, not just to one receiver the whole game or just depending on matchups, but, using those X's and O's and using your running backs in the receiving game. And I think it's more than just getting another wide receiver. I think everyone just has to be involved. And, I guess we'll find out, who could play in those other spots.
Yeah, I think Paris Campbell. I was thinking about. I was like, I think Paris Campbell could play in the slot decent for us, and I think Anaya Smith is going to end up with the job by season end. But to me, it's not even about that. It's just about depth at wide receiver on the outside. If something happens to one of them, like who do you have that's going to go out there and play? That's a legitimate concern. I don't think it's I'm not saying you have to go make a trade for Brandon Ayuk, but maybe a Mechie guy. What about, like, there were reports that the Eagles could be interested in Treylon Burks? What about a guy like that who can come cheap, 2 years left on his rookie deal? He's not the greatest thing, but maybe, being young, maybe behind those guys, if he's needed in a game or two while one of those guys is out, maybe he can do it, because right now I think they're really thin.
Yeah, I get it.
So, I mean, we'll see. Because right now we're pretty much at the stage where your team is pretty much set. Now you just got to polish things off,
Yeah.
round it here, add depth here, there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and the thing is, like, we haven't, like, we said this for the millionth time, we haven't hit training camp yet. Like, with our own eyes, we have to see, like, what Anaya Smith and some of these other guys could do if they could play on the outside. So I think it's too early to say they need to ride receiver this badly.
No, you talk about receiver, like, not.
Yeah.
You don't need to trade for one tomorrow. You wait till, like, preseason.
Right.
You know? Splenda says 500 Pickett's talent was stunned by Matt Canada. I can't wait to see what he does in preseason. By the way, the report was shameful clickbait. Yeah, it was crazy. It was like they were insinuating that there's a quarterback controversy. It's like, no, not at all. Oh, did you see this? I don't know if people saw this, but Josh Sweat changed his number from 94 to 19.
Horrible.
I don't understand what he's doing. What are you doing?
Well, his high school number was 9. I know that.
But 19, I just think of the Umbrella Man, dude. It's just like, I don't know. Yeah, that was a weird number change.
That's why it sucks buying jerseys, dude, because these guys can do this when, like, there's got to be a rule thing with this number, like with these numbers. Like, people are buying jerseys, spending a lot of money on jerseys, and these guys could change it. That's why, like, when rookies come out, never buy their jerseys the first year. I would love to, but you just can't, because usually they change the number next year.
Unless you're sure they're not. Yes. Yeah. It's a weird Josh Sweat changes his number like that. Chris B says, "What's up? What's going on? EC1 football. What's happening, my man? How are you?" Ryan says, "Philly and Joey, do you think they allowed Reddick to go because the front office believes Jalen Carter steps up in the replacement to be a double-digit one-sack tier guy?" I don't think it was because of Jalen Carter. I mean, Jalen Carter's pretty much interior. He's on the outside the edge. I think it was age. I think they didn't want to pay him. And I think there has to be more to it than even that. I think stuff went on during the end of this season last year.
I think Fangio thought that he wasn't a good fit for the team, regardless of. You got to look at it in another direction, because you've said it yourself that Hassan Reddick is a streaky player where there'll be a whole entire month where he does nothing. I mean, nothing.
Right.
And then the next month he'll have 7 sacks. So in a pass coverage type, a balance of off-ball coverage, he does nothing in pass coverage. So I understand you're losing that statistic of sacks, but sacks aren't everything. And I understand we were very upset over it. But this is because now we're far ahead of the game, knowing what we have now. And do we think our defensive line is set at this point for Vic Fangio to still hit home with this defensive line? Probably not. Maybe go get a Yank Ngakoue that's still out there, try to find something else. But I think that Fangio had a lot of control in this and said a guy's turning 30 in September or whatever it is.
Right.
Season starting. I get it, but
Yeah, well, I mean, to me, the whole thing is, will you get production from Huff and Nolan Smith? If you do, then you'll be fine. If not, then it's going to be an issue. 5 David Super Chat goes, Michael Thomas is still out there. Yeah, he's still out there. Here's another one. There are guys that they could get. Like, there's no rush. There's no rush to go out and get a receiver immediately. But I do think you're going to need somebody.
Just bring Julio back at this point. I don't think he played. Honestly, I don't even think he played that bad. I just think they were just. We know every position was underutilized. We know that they weren't used to their strengths of play calling.
You can bring him back.
I thought he played pretty good.
Do that. Yeah, you could definitely do that.
You know?
Maryland Eagle, thank you for the super chat, my man. He goes, prediction for the secondary by the end of the season: cornerback Darius Slay. Quarterback 1, Darius Slay, slot Isaiah Rodgers, safety C.J. Gardner-Johnson, safety slot corner Cooper DeJean, cornerback number 2 Quinyon Mitchell. I kind of agree with you. That's what I think is going to end up happening too by year end, and really appreciate that. Really appreciate the super chat, man. Shout out to you. SMD Marie said, Joey, great point. Joey made a great point. He doesn't remember what the hell it was, but it was a great point.
No, I never remember anything. So
no, Jay Tyler, David Super Chat goes, what do you think about Corey Davis for wide receiver depth? I thought he retired. Didn't he retire?
That's what I thought.
I guess. I mean, they just need somebody that could come in and cover for a week or two if need be. I mean, if you're going to lose guys any longer than that, then it's probably bad. But, I don't know. You know.
Yeah.
Let's see. Is it true most San Frans have a Hello Kitty tattoo on their inner thigh? I don't know. I've never looked at their
Maybe.
inner thigh.
Could be.
You never know with the 49ers. Oh, no, David Super Chat. He goes, super random, but I think Smith is a diamond in the rough as far as draft picks. I'm curious how Trotter plays. Not worried about the top 3 picks. I think Trotter starts by year end. That's my prediction. I'm staying with it. And as far as Anaya, I really like Anaya Smith. I think he's going to be – he seems like the perfect guy for the slot for them. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Especially his ability to get yards after the catch. I really can't wait to see him play. Question is how ready is he going to be going into training camp? He's still coming back from an injury. So it looks like Paris Campbell's going to have that job on lockdown early in the year. You know. And
speaking of linebackers, Nakobe Dean goes into the second day of OTAs and still can't practice.
Yeah.
Still just stretching and not practicing. I mean, this guy was out of a boot in February, and it's already May, and he still can't even practice yet. If he misses the first day of training camp, I don't even know what to say.
Didn't he miss everything last year too?
Yeah, he was hurt. He missed. He made the last preseason game. That was it.
Yeah, the last preseason game. Yeah, and if he goes down, like it looks like the Zach Bond kid is the number. He looks like he's on top of the depth chart with
him and Devin White.
Right,
yeah.
So we'll see what he is. But if Nakobe Dean is hurt, doesn't come back, and Bond doesn't play up to their ability, my man Trotter's coming, Joey. The Axeman is coming, and if he comes, he's taking it all. Pause.
He better come. He better come.
Pause. No Diddy. Big pause. I was going to say come hard, but then it just got too ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know, let's see. G5900 says Rodgers is outside corner, not a slot guy. He plays best on the outside. He played most on the outside. But if you go back and you read the initial press release when the Eagles signed him, it was to play inside. I believe that he can play both. I believe you should try him to play both. Otherwise, you got a really crowded outside cornerback situation. How is Quinyon Mitchell going to get on the field? Seriously, if you keep Bradbury and then you have Isaiah Rodgers is up next, and then you have he's like 4th on the depth chart. But I think it's kind of crazy to me.
Dude, it's crazy because Bradbury didn't even practice, okay? He was out for, I guess, personal stuff, or I don't know what was going on. But it's crazy how Isaiah Rodgers, first team, so Isaiah Rodgers got the first start at outside corner. Maddox got the start at nickel. Then that second team was Quinyon on the outside, and then Dejean on the inside. So they even put Mitchell on the outside for Bradbury, which is kind of crazy. Yes, it's all like, you got to take it with a grain of salt. It's the second day of OTAs. It's early. They're not in full pads. I get it. But I think this signing of Isaiah Rodgers before, when he got suspended, like, I think this was for a lot more than we realized. Even Jeffrey Lurie at the Florida GM owners meetings said that, someone gave him a question on Isaiah Rodgers, and they said they have big plans for him.
Yeah, so if he's on the outside,
you have a legit starting corner, Philly. I mean, you have a legit guy.
Yeah. No, he's a legit starting corner in this league, and he has experience on the outside, so he can play. The question is do they do what they kind of insinuated when they signed him and put him inside, or do they keep him outside? Like I said, if you keep him outside, then you have Slay, Bradbury, him, then Mitchell falls to what? 4. I would hate to waste Mitchell's first year not on the field.
I swear to God.
So then you can get rid of Bradbury. Mitchell then becomes your outside starting corner. But to me, that should be where you put Mitchell in right away, not Rodgers. So and I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how they do it. I mean, it looks like just by the depth chart and the talent you have, it looks like Dejean could see the field before him, to be honest.
I think Dejean will definitely see he'll definitely see the field. I mean, your starting safeties were Chauncey and Reed, which was pretty obvious. So we know they're going to start Dejean somewhere. And then I think when camp progresses, joint practices, they will move him progressively all over the place. So I'm not really worried about Dejean too much. It's really Quinyon Mitchell. And if Bradbury's not a future piece, if you're planning on getting rid of him after this year, what's the point of keeping him right now? Throw these young. The offseason program is really important. If you waste and keep Bradbury in, Quinyon's going to have an offseason program, which is fine, but then he's not playing. If he's not playing, he's not getting better. And if he's not starting, he misses. You know what I mean? If he's a backup there, this whole season or whatever the case may be with it, he's not going to get better. So
I do not want him back.
No,
I do not want him on the bench. Married with Football. Thank you for Super Shakers. My wife and I started an est channel. Would love a shout out. You guys started a channel? Married with Football. Shout out to you. Everybody go check out his channel. Good luck with it, man. And I'll definitely be checking it out. And thank you for Super Chat. And congratulations on starting your channel. It's going to be interesting. I think you're going to see. I think you're going to see multiple moves. You're going to see multiple moves at the cornerback position. I mean, how does McPherson make this team? I wonder if a guy like Maddox makes his team. Somebody good is going to be gone.
McPherson coming off what's it called? Not an ACL, but the other end. I forgot.
Achilles.
He's coming off an Achilles, and then Maddox not only started nickel with the first team, but he actually played safety with the third team, which is an interesting one. Because remember, like a long time ago, when Ronnie McLeod got hurt one season, and he missed a lot of time. I think it was Maddox's rookie year. I could be wrong. They moved him to safety, and he actually didn't play that bad. He actually played pretty good. Right. So we'll see what they do there. They need safety. They need another guy at safety, and we know Dejean was probably the prime candidate for that. So we'll see.
I still believe by year end he'll get. We'll know when they get to camp, because the OTAs is kind of like a feel me out process. So when they get to camp and they're practicing, we'll see if these guys start moving around a little bit. Right now they may just want to line them up and see what they got. It's hard to tell. Chip 2 Vigo for 13 months ago. We need to sign undrafted free agent from Kenya. See my nuts. Thank you for your support. I don't know if they're going to sign him. I heard he was a little bit slow. Nuts. Yeah. George says, just like the Eagles to draft a player first round, not use them. Yeah, that's what I worry about. That's what I worry about with the whole user. It seems like if you just take Rodgers and if you shift him inside, all of a sudden it opens up everything on the outside. Really, it really does. But I mean, who knows? Maybe Rodgers will come in and stink. Maybe the year off he's just lost it. I mean, I don't know.
I mean,
I know he was a solid corner before he got suspended.
He put up a tweet the other day. He was like, "I'm not going anywhere. I'm locked in. I'm here." He's like, "I promise I'm not going anywhere," because a lot of people were phasing him after he got suspended for the year. A lot of people were saying he wasn't going to be the same player coming back. So he's took that as a chip on his shoulder to come back and really play well. So
and it's hard to know because he played all his snaps with the Colts. We really have nothing to go on. So it's kind of hard. I mean. All I know is they are stocked with talent in the secondary. It's however it's going to work itself out. What we're seeing in OTAs, I wouldn't worry about all that too much until training season goes. Because I wouldn't be surprised if you're going to get practices and they're going to say Rodgers is inside, Dejean's at safety. Dejean, because Dejean, he started off in the slot, but he still took more snaps by the end of the OTAs
on the outside.
Right. So, they're already trying. I think sometimes we just, we're looking at everything because we're just so ready for football. But it's OTAs. They're just trying to get a feel for some of these guys.
True.
The biggest concern should be percentage of snaps that our current defensive linemen can handle. We have a bunch of guys that can't play more than 50% of the snaps. Reddick played 70. Yeah, I mean, that's a great point because Huff did not play a lot of snaps. And he's going to have to play way more amount of snaps. Obviously, Carter, he's going to get increased role. Jordan Davis, if he's conditioned in shape, I think he can handle it. But there's definitely questions on that outside. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Splenda says 500. I don't know if you know, but Anaya Smith has a YouTube channel called Sub-Zero Productions. I had no idea. Did
Yeah,
you
he
know
does.
that?
Yeah, I know he does.
Where he's been filming his experiences with oh no, I haven't. Thank you for letting me know that. I did not know that,
Yeah.
So we'll see. Bite Life says Pickett 6 is fine for a backup. That's it. 1 or 2 games, you come in, play, and that's it. Can you win those games? That's it. I don't see anything else. Brian says slot if Ben don't break, it's going to be great or terribly frustrating. 1,000. I hate the Ben don't break philosophy. I do. I really do. Let's see. LJ says a member for 5 months. Thanks so much. He goes, Dan Silva is hiding under Joey's desk right now. I don't think Joey wants no man hiding under his desk.
He's below me, so it doesn't matter.
Pause. No Diddy. This is a good question. Dave says, who do you guys think will be running back 2? Shipley. I've already given him the job. He's already won. The moment they drafted him, he's my running back number 2. I mean, we'll see. We'll see. But, I mean, I don't know. They got some guys they brought in I just don't know enough about. But Shipley, I mean, he looks like he'll fit what they want to do. And we'll see where they're at, with Gainwell.
Yeah, I mean, other than the guy from Georgia, that's a pure north-south runner, bruiser back, a legit bruiser back that we haven't really had since like LeGarrette Blount, pretty much. It's been Jordan Howard, maybe having a player like that. So interesting to see that they're going to probably keep 3 running backs. I don't know if they're going to keep 4, but Will Shipley is what Kellen Moore wants, and his as a receiving back in the passing game is going to be where he's really going to make these guys shine, other than just rushing this year.
They'll keep 3. They'll keep 3 dressed, and they'll have probably somebody on the practice squad. It's interesting with Anaya Smith though, because there's a lot of talk that you can use him. Where you give him end arounds and you can even use him in certain situations like that. I'm really excited to see how they're going to use that kid, because I feel like he legitimately could come in and play in the slot. Like I feel like he could do that right away.
Yeah, I agree.
Joe says having experienced offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator is encouraging. We will see the differences this year. Flag was fly. Yeah, I think it'll be a big difference. Especially just like if something's not going your way, if something's not going right, they have the experience to know how to stop the bleeding. We couldn't stop when things started going bad. We didn't know how to stop it last year at all.
No, it was a complete disaster.
Yeah.
Just like there's nothing to say about it.
Oh, it was brutal. Joseph says the Eagles secondary is in good position, just like Joey said. We have like 3 or 4 versatile players there now that can switch positions if anyone goes down. Yeah, that's so true. I mean, Dejean can play all over. C.J. Gardner-Johnson can play multiple positions. Isaiah Rodgers, I believe, could play multiple positions.
Tyler Hall.
Avonte Maddox could play multiple positions. Tyler Hall could play multiple positions. And there's even question like what about Ringo? Like Ringo's kind of becomes the forgotten guy in some of these conversations, because I thought Ringo showed enough to me last year that I say this kid could be a future starter in another year or 2. I would like ultimately to see him and Mitchell on the outside. I would like Ringo, Mitchell outside, Isaiah Rodgers inside in the slot, then CJ and Dejean at safety, and then you move Dejean wherever you need at that time.
I'm really hoping that keeping Bradbury, if they do keep him, because I'm telling you right now, keeping Bradbury is a whole roster spot. So this could kick Eli Ricks out. I'm not going to say it's going to kick Keely Ringo out, but God forbid if one of these guys gets cut and then in another year or 2 they become a great player somewhere else, it's going to piss me off.
I don't want to lose Ricks. I don't want to lose
I don't
Ricks.
either.
I don't want to lose Ringo. I don't want to lose those guys. But I look at a guy like Tyler Hall's another guy we don't talk about a lot because we haven't he wasn't with the Eagles. But he's a kid that if you go look at with the Raiders stuff, a lot of people believe that he just needs an opportunity for more playing time, that he can play, that he's a good player. He just needs the opportunity. There's another guy. I mean, that secondary is going to have – dude, I seriously, I think you could take somebody and you probably get a few trades done during training camp.
Yeah, Fangio's definitely got his work cut out for him. I mean, he's got a lot of depth, and he really can't mess this up. And to keep what you need, not only for this year, if guys aren't starting, but keeping them for the future as well, of what you're going to potentially have, because you're losing, Slay after this year. And I'm actually really happy with Slay that he really wants to, take the guys under his wing, and he's not going to be that selfish player. There's guys that don't do that. There's guys that don't, veteran players that are about to retire that don't take players under the wing. That are not like that, and he's willing to do that, which is a great thing. So Quinyon Mitchell learn, and which he will, but as a starter and learning from Slay and being with him the whole season, that's what I want. And keeping Bradbury is just another corner you're going to get rid of Bradbury after this year. And then whoever left is not going to be here anymore, which we probably could have used that guy or could have produced him more here. So
yeah, it's going to be this is going to be one of the most interesting preseasons that I can remember in a long time, because the battles going on are just going to be absolutely crazy. Chip 2 Vigo, they were Super Chicks. Don't be surprised if Rodgers plays outside for the first part of the year. He is built like a slot cornerback, but played a lot outside in Indy and was solid. Yeah, he was a legit starting corner. Nick likes to go to the vets and make rookies earn it. Yeah, I know he does. That's something. See, to me, that would really be a waste to do that, because if you sit Quinyon Mitchell for the year because he's a rookie and you want to earn it to that level, I mean, on some level they've got to go and they've got to show that they can get on the field. I get that, but the idea that you have this offense, this high-powered offense that can score 30-plus points a game, and you don't take advantage of that on the defensive side of the ball by using the young guys that are going to be here for a long time, it just seems like a waste. The Kansas City Chiefs are the perfect example of that. They let those young defensive players play for a few years, and look what they did last year. They really came on, So you might be right. I have no idea, I think it would suck.
Well, they don't have the Chiefs don't have a different cook in the kitchen trying to do the same recipe every year, because that's a whole nother problem. The KC's had their same DC since 2019, and the Eagles just have been doing this scheme, this off-ball scheme, but they have been just putting a different cook in the kitchen every single year, and hopefully this Fangio works out, because if this goes down under. I'm really, after this year, if this does not work defensively with this scheme with him, then they need to change schemes again. They're going to have to switch back and be more of an aggressive scheme. They really have to. But it's crazy. It sucks because they're getting players for the scheme and pass coverage and off ball and all that stuff. And then, if it doesn't work, then it's then they got to revert back to more of an aggressive scheme, or do they have the players for that more? It's just, I hope what they got now is what's going to work out. I hope Fangio does a good job. And you know what? I have to say, even after what Jalen Carter said, and it was just so funny, because the second day of Eagles OTAs, the media was there. There was reports and there was interviews going on in Miami, and they were just throwing Vic Fangio under the bus, like Javon Holland, whatever his name is, at safety from Miami, was saying that's a complete 180. That not literally saying that, probably literally saying that nobody liked Fangio at all, but then Jalen Carter saying he likes this hard-nosed coach that, everybody likes him in Philadelphia right now. So I don't know what these Miami players were going through or what was so bad over there with Fangio. I'm not sure, but we need an asshole as a coach. I'm sorry, but we do.
Listen, I think Fangio's personality probably fits Philly better than Miami. But listen, maybe this is why Miami couldn't beat teams with winning record. They couldn't beat good teams because maybe they were just soft. I don't know. But yeah, it was kind of crazy that so many players hated him. And then you got Philly, where the Eagles are like, Carter's happy to have him, Slay's happy to have him. And I guess you could make the argument that they have to say that Time will ultimately tell. But even if you look at Miami and the defensive players not liking him, I really don't care if the players like a coach or not. Just do your job. And he still put together a pretty good defense that was pretty good total defense, pretty good against. I think they were 15th against the pass, top 10 total defense. I think they were like 9th in turnovers. So if they go and they produce, then that's all I really care about.
Yeah, I mean they were top 10 in quarterback hit. They were top 10 in quarterback hits. They were I think they were 9th or 10th in quarterback hits. They were, I think, 3rd in pressures. So he knows how to hit. He knows how to get this defensive line to hit home. I mean, I don't believe in I don't mind coverage sacks, but I feel what you have here with this defensive line. I feel like you really have to try to get pressure, because I don't care how good your secondary is or on paper how it looks like. I don't think I can trust guys covering for 8-9 seconds. I just think, that's just going to blow a gash every single game that we have. Right. And we don't want to go through. We went last year because you didn't know how to blitz. You don't know how to move your guys around the defensive line, running stunts. I mean, remember with Gannon, every time we ran a stunt, it always resulted in a sack, and they just didn't do enough of it. So, yep. Fangio's got a lot on his plate, and I don't think it's phasing him. And I think the players really like him right now. And it's like I said, it's early in the process, but
it's early. It's early. We'll see. Dre Diesel, thank you for the super chat. He goes, folks are saying Devin White is not an impact player now, and who will be the guy playing opposite him. If you guys have time, please check out Cali Eagle podcast. I just started. Let me know how I'm doing.
Oh, nice.
Man, Dre Diesel, thank you for super chat. We will definitely check it out. Everybody click on his channel, go check him out, and we'll definitely check it out. I think it's funny that, I can understand why people say Devin White, he might not be that good anymore or whatever, because he hasn't showed the last few years. But I think based upon the way things happened in Tampa, I think it tells you that he's still got a lot of talent left. And I think the change of scenery will impact him. But don't underestimate the hatred for the Eagles. How many times do we see players in free agency? Dude, Saquon Barkley. Oh my gosh, if Saquon Barkley goes to the Houston Texans, it's going to be unstoppable. What offense? Then the Eagles sign a guy, and then all of a sudden, he's not that good anymore. I think Devin White's going to be a huge impact for this team. And right now, it looks like Zach Bond is the other linebacker that is starting. But we'll see how that all unfolds.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep. Agreed.
Let's see here. System of the Knot, member for 43 months, he goes, I don't know how I feel about Uzomah. We need tight end depth. Yeah, I'm not sold on any second tight end. Like, I don't look at the second tight end and go, our tight end's so good, both of them, that we can use a lot of 12-man personnel. I don't see it like that. We'll see what the tight ends are, but I wouldn't mind an upgrade.
It doesn't wow me. And because Albert you traded for him last year, you did nothing with him, and now you re-signed him, and hopefully now you can try to get something out of him production-wise. So I'm not floored about tight end. I don't think they're going to add a tight end. We'll see what the undrafted guy from Tennessee can do. Castles, nothing crazy. But I think tight end will be more of a next-year type thing. They'll upgrade a little bit more there. I think
And I think Goddard's got to stay healthy. Like, he's got to show us something, man. I mean, come on. Some of these years, it just seems like he underproduces. And it always seems to be kicked off by an injury.
Yeah, even if it's not his fault, it's always something,
right? Yeah. Bald Eagle David Super Chat goes, is there any real difference between starting a vet who is rusty versus a first-round rookie? Might as well get the reps early while the teams aren't great. I think I think it depends. I mean, like, if a guy's just knocking off rust, but the rookie isn't really ready to play, doesn't maybe understand what he's got to do, what they want from him, maybe he's just not ready. If it's a far off, if it's far off, then you start the veteran. But if it's even close talent-wise, or if the rookie's better talent-wise, but maybe he's going to make more mistakes, I think you play the rookie. And you get him his reps as quickly as possible.
It's ridiculous because, I know for a fact that Quinion Mitchell is better athletically than James Bradbury, okay? Especially off ball, fast break tackles, see things before they happen. Quinion Mitchell is a beast. And if they I look, post-June is going to be interesting because we're going to see a lot of players that were post-June designations from other teams. So we're going to see, like, guys are going to get released. Guys are going to become free agents. So you never know what the Eagles are going to pick up because of a certain release from another team. Or what are the Eagles going to do? I mean, they didn't, we figured, like, Bradbury was going to, if Bradbury got dealt during free agency, whether it was a trade, whether it was a designation for post-June, then I understand these two picks that we had in Dejean and obviously Quinion Mitchell. Right. But him still being here, it's just, I don't want to go through an Andre Dillard situation again, where you already have a starter at a position and then you redshirt the guy for the year, kill his confidence. And look, it's not, every player's different. I get it. Andre Dillard got worse because he got more injury prone. He was getting hurt all the time. But you kill confidence that way, and you're going to lessen the production of that guy, and he's not going to get better if you sit him. I mean, we could talk about this. We pretty much say the same thing like a broken record every single stream we get on here. It's you sit Quinion, it's going to be it's like you're so happy to draft him, but for what? I mean, that's what I don't like. Why? I mean, because during the draft, the first round, because we were looking at it, we were seeing how the draft was going. All offensive players, defensive player, 14, 15 had started. So when Troy Fontanu went off the board, we were like, we felt the Eagles were trying to get him. Right. That the Eagles tried to make a trade. They tried to get him, and they couldn't. And I don't know if Quinion Mitchell might have not been the top guy on their board in the first round. He might have not. I don't know.
It was either him or Fontanu. I mean, it's possible Fontanu was the guy they wanted. But yeah, I agree. But when you looked at Mitchell, most people thought that he's a guy that could come in and play right away. So, see, I agree with you. I think you got to get him on the field. I just think that with the way the offense, like, remember we talked about Saquon, right? And we could even go back a year further to when we talked about Bijan Robinson. And sometimes you make your strength stronger so that you can then allow the other side of the ball to play young guys, to take chances and do some things you might not normally do. To me, with Barkley in this offense, it should be like, we've got to get the young guys on the field. We want them to play. They'll make their mistakes, but you know what? Our offense will carry us. And then going into year two, even at the end of the first year, all of a sudden, these guys got a lot of reps, and they're ready to go.
I don't want the Eagles putting up, like, as much as I want it to happen, because there wasn't one big game from the offense last year, because every game was just an ugly win, and it happened way too many times. Never had a dominating game. So I don't want it to be another year where the Eagles are putting up points like crazy and the defense is just getting gashed every single play, and then you're putting more pressure on the offense every single game. Right. Which a defense at least getting turnovers or just getting some early turnovers or something. It helps out the offense tremendously. When field position, guys don't have to go 60 yards downfield to go score. You know what I mean? So it helps tremendously. So I don't want the defense to just sit back and just. Let's just give them a field goal every time. Right. You
know what? And that might be what we have to deal with this, just the scheme.
I know.
It's just the way it is. But, Nolan Smith is a perfect example of this, right? Wouldn't you have loved to see Nolan Smith get a lot more reps than he did a year ago? I mean, if he would have gotten double the playing time that he got, let's say, last year, all of a sudden – we would have a way better gauge of what he is. And here, let me add this. Cooper Dejean is a second-round pick. He's not a first-round pick. Mm-hmm. So he doesn't have the extra year on his rookie deal. There is no option year to pick up. So if, let's say, he sat this whole year behind Avonte Maddox in the slot. So he sits this whole year. Then he goes in his second year, and let's say he comes on the field, starts playing. Well, now his second year is the learning year. And then you're going into his third year of a 4-year contract, and you're still got to see more to see what he can do. It makes it hard. I mean, even Landon Dickerson saw the field as a rookie. So you want these guys on the field,
Yeah, when there's a legit hole at a position, they'll draft somebody. They'll put him in there. Like but when there's a veteran there, a lingering veteran, and they draft a guy at the same position that is trying to get to that position, it's tough. Even the Nolan Smith situation, like this is why I'm pissed off at Nick Sirianni for a lot of things. Because if Nolan Smith wasn't getting any playing time and Sean Desai was being questioned, why is Nolan Smith not getting playing time? There's only a certain amount of snaps, guys. The bullshit excuse, right? First round pick, bullshit excuse. Nick should have been like, hey, you need to try to fit him into this defense. He's a first round. Nick didn't even that's why Nick just mind boggling of what he did last year and how he handled the situation, not just from a play call perspective, but as for guys that really need to fucking play. At least with the Hassan Reddick trade, if Nolan Smith at least got produced and did well, I would have felt a little bit more comfortable on that trade. As much as we didn't like it, Nolan Smith would have made me feel a little bit better if he at least had a chance to produce. I understand he got hurt a couple times, whatever, but he was just sitting there. He was a special teamer most of the year and then got more snaps by the end of the year when the fucking world was burning. I mean, that was pretty much
right.
Just saying.
And it was burning. Yeah, that's for sure. JH, thank you for Super Chat. He goes, for the Hurts haters, AJ only had 1,000 yards for 3 years in Tennessee. Next 2 years with Hurts, 1,450, and that's with Smitty getting his Hurts. Hurts. Yeah, I think Hurts is going to be fine. I think Hurts will have a much better year than he did last year. And and I'm not one of those people I don't hate Hurts' year last year as much as some people. People forget after 11 games he was the odds favorite to win MVP. Then all of a sudden it's gone from that to he was horrible last year. He was. The whole team was bad last year. Mm-hmm. Antonio, thank you for the super chat, my man. Appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, the point is, I want to see these young guys play. And listen, I got to say this because I always get a comment later. Well, what if the young guys aren't playing good and aren't good enough to get on the field? Listen, if they're obviously not good enough to get on the field, and they're not even close to this, to the veterans. If Mitchell comes out and he's totally lost and Isaiah Rodgers is playing way better than him, then you got to play Rodgers. But if it's somewhat close, you got to get the young guys on the field.
Well, and I think on top of that too is even I know, like I said, it's only OTA, so don't make a big deal about it. But Quinyon Mitchell made a couple pass breakups already. Yeah. So if I go into training camp and Mitchell's making plays, and if Mitchell's making plays and James Bradbury's getting burnt during camp in joint practices, I'm telling you right now, they still start Bradbury, it's going to be a problem. It's going to be a big problem. And if they don't even play something, they got to play. This preseason has got to be the most productive preseason. I'm not saying they got to play all 3 games, whatever it is, 3 games, whatever it is, and full 4 quarters each. But they have got to play more than one series. I'm sorry, but you're not getting off. You're not getting off the panhandle that easily, and going to rest for 5 weeks before a game. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
I agree.
No way.
Glenn, thank you for the super chat, my man. He goes, Philly, I really hate you for talking about Mark so much. I went and tried to listen to a couple of his videos. Could you ask his wife to teach him 4-syllable words? He said literally 9 times on 9 videos. It's not my fault. What do you mean me? I'm sorry. Mark is not going to make it this year. He's in meltdown mode. Lucius, the show, David Superchat goes, Desai wouldn't play Nolan because of Nick, I bet. Yeah, I mean, it would have been nice to get Nolan Smith more reps, man. Now we're in the second year, and I mean, I don't know. I have big question mark about Nolan Smith. We just didn't see a lot, Mm-hmm. So, I think if you give the chance, get these guys on the field. And I guess the long way of putting it is I don't see how Bradbury stays. How are they going to keep Bradbury this year? I don't see any way. When June 1st comes, he's gone, dude. I think he's gone. He's got to be gone.
It's and everybody makes it seem like the contract's really impossible. It's $10.5 million. Sure. Okay. I get it. That's, a good amount of money, but at the same time, it's like they can extend him for 2 years and they can split that dead cap up within a couple years, $5.5 million, and eat it up so easily. So I don't want to go through another year because of veteran seniority, not even because of a guy that's better, to put in front of a younger guy. Like, we've seen guys go into camp and not looking great or not having good practices. It's happened. Jalen Hurts hasn't had good practices either, and he's come out in games. So it's like I said, OTAs is the starting point, training camp, joint practices, preseason. You got to let these guys get their reps.
Yeah. And the thing is like, you look at the depth. I mean, if Bradbury stays, and then you have Ringo, you have Mitchell, you have Rodgers. I mean, somebody's got to be the odd man out. I would much rather it be Bradbury. It's going to be interesting. I'll say this though: if Bradbury ends up staying, I don't see how Isaiah Rodgers plays on the outside. He's got to be going into the slot. He has to be. Because it's just too much. It's too many guys. You got to do something. I mean, maybe they trade somebody like Bradbury. I mean, if you could trade Bradbury after June 1st, you save $1.2 million. So you could actually save $1.2 million.
Fine.
Trade them. So I mean, call up the Titans. Maybe they'll trade you Bradbury for Burks.
Get a 7th round pick. Get a 2030 7th round pick. I don't care what it is.
2092 7th round pick.
I don't even care.
I agree.
I don't even care.
No, I agree. Antonio said they like Bradbury. We about still have 3 to 4 defensive backs that finished last in pass defense. We about to still have 3 to 4 defensive backs that finished last in pass defense.
Yeah, but
Well, the thing is, if you like Bradbury, right? If they really like Bradbury, then what are you going to do with Isaiah Rodgers? Are you going to just sit him on the bench? It just seems like you're wasting talent on the bench, and then you're not taking advantage of your offense. So I would have issues if they go that route. I really would.
But I'm going to Antonio Holmes' comment, because how can you compare last year? I mean, seriously, changing defensive coordinators from giving up 22 a game to 28 plus a game with Matt Patricia, the worst move they could have done to try to input a brand new defense in and change things around mid-year was the biggest mistake they should have made. So statistics for the DBs on what they ranked means absolutely nothing to me, because it was a disaster. There's no way I can't blame one guy in this defense. They could be looking at Bradbury and saying, you know what, in 22 he played really well when the defense was heading home and the play calling was okay. They might think that, but if he's not a part of the future, like you just said it, like Quinyon Mitchell will go into, if Bradbury starts this year, Quinyon Mitchell will go into 2025 with 3 years left on his contract and, whatever, a 5th-year option if they take it, whatever.
Right.
But they go into next year as his learning year, because he goes through all this offseason program. Just saying, Quinyon Mitchell makes all these plays, offseason program, joint practices, preseason, does so well. And then he doesn't start the whole year. And then he's taking 30 steps backwards, not going to get better, because just practicing with the team isn't going to do much for you all week.
Right.
Unless someone gets hurt and you get an opportunity. So this is honestly the only thing that's been bothering me about this team, of why Bradbury's still here. Like, we wanted Quinyon Mitchell. Like, we didn't think it was going to happen, and it did happen. And dude, like, they got to get their shit together. Like this, they gotta, like.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm saying 75% chance Bradbury's gone. I just don't see how they're going to keep him. I don't. And if they do, then I'm really curious, what are you going to do with Isaiah Rodgers? Is he sliding over to the slot? And then, how much will Quinyon Mitchell get in? How much will Cooper Dejean get in? Like we're talking about, Mitchell and trying to, rise up the depth chart. You look at Dejean, you put him in the slot, he's only competing against Avonte Maddox. He's gonna take that job at some point quickly. I want both those guys on the field.
Yeah, why is Avonte Max starting the first day? Like even OTAs, why is he even considered to even start right now?
The only thing I could think of was that Bradbury wasn't there, and they decided to put Rodgers on the outside to start it out. I don't know. Otherwise, I don't know. You know, I mean, Avonte Max was a guy that they literally just cut, and they almost didn't bring him back. He went and visited New Orleans and other teams, so it was like, is he really that locked in at the corner, at the slot corner? I don't believe that, you know. Kev's Daver super chat, man. He goes, guys, I met Nick Foles last night, and he came into my restaurant, and I took care of him. Easily the greatest celebrity I've ever met in Vegas. Obviously, that's very, very cool, man.
Yeah,
sounds like he's a great guy, you know. That's cool. Daver super chat goes, August 29th. Teams have to slim down to 53. There's going to be teams that are not happy with their cornerback room, and that's when they trade them. Yeah, I agree. Because, and you know what? There's going to be a lot of opportunities because of the way they're doing cut downs. There's going to be a lot of opportunities for teams to mess up their cuts. They're going to cut guys that they might not have cut it if they had an extra week or two. But because they have to cut everybody at the same time, it's going to be you might get some diamonds in the rough that wind up becoming free agents. It might happen.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. If you see like a player that's, you know, and I hate when there's a really productive player in preseason and even he doesn't make the team, or like I don't want them to pass on somebody because they just favored another guy because he's been in the league longer, or like I get it. Like you got to take preseason with a grain. You have to take everything with a grain of salt. You got to know, is this player that you're looking at that's playing great? Is he playing against second, third, fourths in preseason games? How is he looking? Is how consistent is he? So, you know, it's going to be, like I said, it's early process right now, but Bradbury could go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. No, I just say, how insane are these post-game preseason games going to be, man? It's going to be so many different battles going on in preseason. Look at all the battles at corner, secondary. I mean, it's going to be insane. You're going to have battles at linebacker. You're going to have battles at that right guard spot, third wide receiver, backup running back, second tight end. I mean, dude, this is going to be one of the best preseasons that I ever remember wanting to watch, because usually you're like, the preseason, hell with it. But there's going to be games where it's like, okay, the starters aren't playing or they're out, but we got to watch this. I want to see this. I want to, you know what I mean? Like, it's going to be fascinating.
No,
I'm getting all pumped up thinking about it, dude.
Yeah, no, it's definitely one of the most exciting off-season programs. And like I said, this is not just for this year, but for the future of what this team could look like. And yeah, and there's a lot of battles, and we're gonna see it. So
absolutely. Mark Holmes in a turtleneck Davis super chat. He goes, here so I won't get fined all night long. Man, what are you guys getting fined for? Let's see. Chip Tooth says, isn't it cheaper to trade Bradbury after June 1st too? Because if we trade him, we take a hit too. Yeah, it has to. When we talk about trading him, we're talking about after June 1st. Yeah, it has to be after June 1st. He says, Joey, chill out. He's gone. Don't worry about it.
Until I see it officially, I'm not going for it.
Justin says, it seems like we almost have to bank on our secondary covering longer to allow our less than stellar pass rush to get home. We really need defensive line to take their next step. To me, that's the key to this defense, really. Like, to me, the biggest question mark is, we're talking about how the Eagles are going to use these guys in the secondary, but they're all talented. The question about, like, what do you have at edge rusher is a legitimate, fair question. I mean, look, Huff looks like he's a kid that is going to be better and better, but he's only done it 1 year. Nolan Smith, to me, it's yet to be determined. I need to see more. And then, we got to talk about Josh Sweat, because Josh Sweat has to rebound. He didn't have a good year last year either. Now he's changing his number to 19. Like, dude, that number alone makes me worry. Pass rusher.
Yeah.
So
no.
I don't know. I mean, Josh Sweat needs to be double-digit sacks. He needs to. You have to get production from him. You can't get rid of. This is why I don't like the whole Reddick thing. It just doesn't make sense to me. Reddick was a stable guy, you knew. Double-digit sacks no matter what. The other guys, wait and see.
Well, not even that, but he was he had a rise in the fourth quarter of games. Like he was a guy that you relied on to make that play at the end of the game, from your defense when you really needed it. So Hassan Reddick hasn't signed his deal yet. He's still Philly. Still, there has been no deal, no new deal signed. No. And I'm telling you right now, if he does not sign a deal throughout this whole offseason program with the New York Jets on this so-called new deal and this money deserving that he wants, something happened behind the scenes on both sides, and it didn't go well. I'm telling you, that's what happened.
Oh, there's no doubt. I'm already convinced that they used the contract as an excuse to get rid of him. They wanted him gone. And it probably had to do with the collapse last year. They probably weren't happy about something. It's obvious at this point. The Eagles don't get rid of pass rushers like that. I mean, seriously, like Reggie White left in free agency. There wasn't anything you could do. It was different ownership, but I can't remember the Eagles having double-digit sack guys like this.
At least
getting rid of them.
At least compensate us with something. I mean, a 26 third round a third round conditional is like playing over 60-something percentage of the snaps. He's got to have 10 plus sacks to get a bigger pick, but I don't think they're going to get. I mean, they might get it. I don't know, but it didn't even help us for this year. I mean, thank God Howie is a great maneuver type GM when it comes to the draft and getting rid of picks that we didn't have in the offseason, and obviously getting them back in the draft, which was great. And we have 9 picks next year in 25 now, which is great. So I think he did an excellent job when it came to when you trade, when you trade for Kenny Pickett, you swap the third to the fourth. You had no third. You end up getting it back. So I think he did a fantastic job. But why was it so hard not to get something more for Reddick? I mean, at least a little bit something more than that.
I don't know. Yeah, I it's a great question. It's a great question. Dre Diesel, David Super J goes, agreed. The Eagles might be able to scramble on August 29th, and we might find a solid wide receiver 3 then, too. Yeah, it could definitely happen. Bald Eagle, David Super J goes, what's a bigger need, tight end 2 or wide receiver 3? I think wide receiver. Well, I really do like Anaya Smith, and I do think he's going to win that. But if you were saying what would be a bigger position, I would say the wide receiver 3 is going to get more snaps than the wide receiver 2. I don't think they're going to run a ton of 12-man personnel. I don't think they have the personnel to really do it. It'll happen sometimes, but you're going to have a wide receiver 3 out there way more than a second tight end. So that wide receiver 3 position is more important.
Yeah, I believe it because it's been one of the most if you take it from you take it from the past few years where Quez Watkins really hasn't panned out to be what he was supposed to be, and you can't depend on Quez Watkins in big moments, and when there has been big moments, he just didn't pan out. Olamide Zaccheaus, I thought he was a great player. They just never gave him opportunity. I think he could have done a lot more. They just never gave him opportunity. So, 22 Super Bowl. What was the 2 weakest positions? Running back was weak, and obviously wide receiver 3. I mean, it's just there.
It's true. Philly 416 says, I don't live out there, but the truth, Reddick was chasing sacks instead of sticking to assignments. That's what was rumored. That's what we heard, that he didn't want to drop back because once Patricia took over, he started really making him drop back. And he didn't like it, but it was also a problem with Josh Sweat. Josh Sweat was also rumored to have the same problem, and they kept him. It just seems like they wanted the Reddick. That there was more to it than what we were led to believe. Because otherwise, if you have Reddick on his team right now, I'm going, dude, this edge rushers are stocked. You got Reddick, you know what you're going to get. You have Josh Sweat will rebound, and then you got Huff and Nolan Smith that in 1 year are ready to take over. I think those guys are going to be good enough, but we have to see them play, Yeah. Kelly Green, Batman, thank you for Super Chat. He goes, busy day, a little late to your new videos. Was at the link taking photos. Oh, very cool. They had a lacrosse game there. Is there a chance for quarterback competition? Yeah, I don't think there's any chance for a quarterback competition. We talked about this earlier in the show. I just think that was a lot of overblown, not needed drama, basically.
And it's happening during the second day of OTAs.
Right.
Like
the first media day.
it's not even training camp.
But to me, it wasn't even what Pickett's trainer said. It was the way that they took what he said and tried to make it into quarterback competition with articles that came out.
Now,
that was what was crazy to me.
Now, remember, too, the new rule this year for quarterbacks getting dressed this year is that now you can actually dress 3 quarterbacks a game.
Right.
So I think this probably had to do with the 40. I think the 49ers probably put this out probably, in 22. Yeah. It wouldn't have shocked me that they put out that, that rule. So
McKee, baby. I can't wait. I can't wait to see Tanner McKee.
Yeah.
Eagles says 500. I think Treylon Burks would be a solid move because Tennessee is just not working out for him. And if he comes to Eagles, he can learn to develop behind 2 of the best receivers in the NFL. Yeah, I mean, exactly. And he wouldn't have any pressure on him. He's 2 years left on a rookie deal. And maybe if you need him for a game or 2, he's a good depth piece on the outside to have. And maybe he's motivated to learn behind Brown and Smith. And then, after his rookie year deal's done, to go to another team and take over. I mean, I think you need somebody else on the outside. There's no rush, but you do,
Yeah.
Cheyenne, member for 23 months. Thank you so much. Going back to what Craig Carton said, maybe Reddick. Listen, there's something with Reddick. There just is,
I know, and every time I talk about it, everyone's like, "You got to get over it." I'm like, "Dude,
over it. I'm over it." But I want to know why. I know that
we want to know
more.
why.
I want to know. I still want to know why Carson Wentz let the Eagles hire a coach for him, and then decided I want to trade. I want to know. I want to know what happened. I still don't know what happened with that.
I love it.
Yeah, it's interesting. To me, obviously something was going on with Reddick. Who knows? But that's the position to watch, because if the Eagles defense comes out, and let's say Bryce Huff is who they signed him to be, let's say Nolan Smith develops as a first-round pick, let's say Josh Sweat returns to form, and maybe these are a lot of what ifs. I don't know, but these should be expectations. You're going to be fine. First and foremost, to me, it all starts in the middle. Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis, they come up, they're ready to go. Then it goes out to the edge rushers, and I think they should be better. But, we got to keep an eye. If we're not getting production from those edge rushers, it's going to hurt the secondary. It's going to hurt everybody else. If we're getting production, we're fine. If not, I look at it like that may be an area where you're at the trade deadline. You try to trade for somebody. The kid Hendrickson from Cincinnati asked for a trade. What if Cincinnati's struggling by the deadline? Would they move him? Something like that, because I think it's a legitimate question mark right now, those edge rushers. I think it's a fair question mark. They should be good. We hope they could be good, but we don't know.
No, there's too many. They're really betting on Nolan Smith. They're betting on Bryce Huff after 1 year, unless 43% of the snaps with the Jets. And you have to make sure you're good this year, because you're going to next year, potentially you're losing Graham to retirement. You're losing Milton Williams. Maybe I'm just saying right now. I'm not saying Milton Williams is a free agent. Josh Sweat, he's definitely going to be gone. I don't think they're going to re-sign him on a restructured deal now. So
I tell you, Milton Williams, it could be the guy that we're not even. We need to talk about him for a second, because he could be the guy that takes that next step, that makes this thing, or he may be the missing piece we're talking about, or maybe the guy that shows up, because he looks like, to me, over the last 2 years, like he looks like he's getting better and better, and he's like on the verge of a really big year to me. Like he's going to get a big year and then get big money.
Agreed.
So we'll keep an eye on him. Who knows? It's going to be crazy, man.
Yeah.
I don't think Howie's done though. I don't think he's done. I don't know that there'll necessarily be a giant move to come. Maybe there will be, but I do think there are some things that got to be resolved. I think you got to resolve the Reddick situation. I think that you got to fill in depth pieces. I still think you need depth at wide receiver. I still think you need depth at linebacker. So I said in a secondary, you have a ton of depth. I mean, I don't know if they would still bring in a Justin Simmons or something like that.
It's exciting. It's exciting that they have depth at corner. Like, what scares us is like, what are they going to do with it? Like,
right. It's just how they're going to use it.
Right,
how are they going to use these pieces? That's
now.
What it is. Yeah, I agree.
We didn't talk about John Ross. Obviously, Devontae Parker.
Yeah.
Devontae Parker retiring now. Well, we didn't talk about it. Well, yeah, Devontae Parker retired, so wanted to be with this. Just decided to retire, and now the Eagles go out and they sign John Ross. Now, what do you think? What do you think they are trying to see what they value him at? Is he more special teams? Is it wide receiver 3? Is it both? Is it?
I think it's wide receiver 3. I think that's what it is. But I look at Parker. I saw Parker as your 4th wide receiver. So I saw Parker as your outside depth piece behind Brown or Smith. I never thought Parker would end up in the slot. So to me, getting the Ross thing is, I think they're shooting for speed. I don't think Ross is going to make this team. I'm just going to say it. I know a lot of people like him because of speed, but he's done nothing. He's done nothing in the NFL. There's no reason to think that he's going to make this squad. I don't think he does. I think you'll have Smith, Brown, Campbell, Anais Smith, and then you'll have probably one more. It seems like the Nagata kid is actually pretty high on the depth chart. I mean, he was taking over Devontae Smith with the ones in OTAs.
Yeah, I mean, if John Ross was as good as he is, he hasn't lived up to what that was. He was the 9th overall pick in 17.
He's a speed guy.
I mean, they could be, and the one thing I can see them using him, whether it's special teams, but I think they could use him as a gadget receiver if the speed. Like, the thing is, we got to see training. We have to see these guys with their own eyes, like on video. Like, we actually have to see, like, is John Ross still fast? Like, is he? He's 28 years old now. It's been, I mean, he's in his prime now. And he's in another time of his career now. He played for the Giants. I think he ended up getting hurt. He didn't play at all, and then he was with the Kansas City Chiefs, I think, in 21 before that, and didn't do much.
He was with the Kansas City Chiefs and last all season, and then I think he retired like before the season started. So I mean, he hasn't played essentially for 2 years, and then I think his last season he had 11 catches. I just don't know what you're going to get from him. I know he's got speed. The question is can a guy like this, was a Johnny Wilson kid, this 6'6",
right?
Like, how can you get him on the field? Like, are one of these guys going to step up? Now, I don't think there's any rush for a receiver. Like, I think you go into camp and you have before you make a move.
Yeah, like Johnny Wilson, like everyone was raving about him at OTAs, just of his size and it just the Tyree Jackson was another guy that had height, that had long like wingspan, but the guy just couldn't stay healthy at tight end. Like, he was a quarterback tight end, just couldn't stay healthy, and we were excited for him, but just couldn't do it. So now with Johnny Wilson, we know he's not moving the tight end, so that's out of the question, unless they change their minds during training games. Like, you know what? If we don't have enough room at wide receiver, let's try to get Johnny Wilson as a tight end right now. This way we get him on the roster, and we'll see what he could do. But I think Johnny Wilson could be a guy right now that maybe they could use for red zone as like a red zone threat, or in situations during games, or maybe this year he won't be great, but I think with another year after this year, going to 25 under his belt by next season, maybe he could be better. So we'll see what happens. But like I said, there's so many names that we're probably not thinking of that could make a lot of noise that is going to happen and could surprise us by training camp. Be like, wow, we didn't really expect this. And we might be talking a whole different situation where we feel like we need depth at this position. We need it. We need a need there. So things do change over time, but we're speculating. So,
Oh, well, yeah, it's hard when you're not seeing these guys on the field. You know, Trey Diesel, thank you for super chat. He goes, One thing I'm looking at is, can Sweat move to outside of the defensive line instead of playing outside linebacker? I think Sweat's got to pretty much play where he's at. I don't think there's any other options for him, to be honest with you. I mean, you need him to be a double-digit sack guy. That's what we need from him.
Yeah, be nice.
Death Row South Daver Super Chat goes, don't worry, Coach Howie will fill every need. My evaluation is the last 7 games going into the playoffs that show me if we get over the hump. Yeah, I'm hoping that when those last 7 games come, we're going, these rookies are starting to play. They're starting to get it. They're starting to come together. That's what I want to hear. You know what I'm saying? But it's gonna be interesting. It is.
And you know what though? Like when we talk about Howie Roseman, the final 53, and he always has the last dibs on the last couple roster spots.
Last 3 spots he gets. Yeah.
But you know what? It's not a bad thing either. Like I feel like Howie knows the type of talent that we need on this team, and I feel like I trust him more than the coaching staff. But he can't coach the team. And these coaches, yet again, and Nick, I feel like I wouldn't say on the hot seat, but I feel like is exactly on a short leash this year, and he's there for appearances. He's there to act as if he's doing so much for this team when he's really not. So the media is not on his back. Right. And I think the coordinators in secret have all the control this year, and Nick is just, like I said, there to just look good and be that motivational guy, and that's it. That's what I believe. And once this offense starts rolling, when we see the first game, we're gonna be able to tell, is this Kellen Moore or is this Nick Sirianni? And we'll be able to tell instantly.
Oh yeah, you'll know right away. A lot of questions, but I'll tell you one thing. Just something like I feel really sure of. I think Devin White's going to be the steal of free agency. I think Devin White's going to be all over. I think we're going to be in a situation where we're like panicking, like we're going to let this guy walk. Like we can't let this guy walk. Like I really have a good feeling about him. And then to see what he did, I mean, they said he looked different than in the last few years. Just his speed. He's up, and then he goes out. He makes a big pass breakup on Barkley. I mean, like. I think him getting out of Tampa Bay, I think it's a big deal. It's such a big deal. He looked so good at OTAs that Stan Silio is already backtracking on him because the guy needed a change of scenery. I think Devin White's going to be a stud for him.
He played good 2 years ago, and he's wanted out of Tampa Bay. He wanted to trade out. He wanted out of there the last couple seasons. So, I mean, I think, like you said, I think it's just a change of scenery and just kind of revive himself in a new place. And 26 years old, and I'm really hoping, man, like if Zach Bond does well and Devin White does well, like they have to try to re-sign one of those guys. They have to at least try because, letting TJ Edwards walk was the biggest mistake that they made. Yeah. Biggest mistake.
I think Devin White's going to. I think we're going to love having Devin White. Maurice Steele, David Super Tingles. Did Josh Sweat change his number? Yeah, we talked about this earlier. Josh Sweat officially changed his number to 19. So he's gone from 94 to 19 now. And, I don't know. We'll see. But, yeah, Josh Sweat is number 19. I don't know.
What? Fuck happened? I was pressing buttons. Shit.
Sorry, dude. I got tossed. My internet's acting funky today. I don't know why.
But you know what, though, too? It's not even just what it looks like on paper. And it's not even like the play calling, but the swagger is going to be back with this team. Like the way that some games went last year, where if this player was in Philadelphia on this defense right now, this wouldn't have happened. This would never have went down. To have Chauncey back, obviously swag, big voice, and Devin White he's got top leadership quality. I mean, can lead.
He's a game wrecker. When he's a top of his game. I mean, you remember the year they won the Super Bowl. I mean, my God, dude, he was one of the best linebackers in the league. I think White It just looks everything I'm hearing. He just looks different, dude.
Yeah.
He looks different, feels different, and I expect him to be Pro Bowl type linebacker. That's what I think we're getting out of him.
Mm-hmm.
I have high expectations for him. I do.
Yeah.
Trey Diesel, thank you for Super Chat. Goes, folks, talk about Devin White like the Bucs haven't had one of the best defenses the whole NFL. He was a big part of it. He was a huge part of it. Things went sour. There was, there was a bunch of things going on, and he said he was banged up last year. But he wanted out. He wanted a contract. This guy's coming into a place where he's going to get a chance to play. It's a smart move by him. Go to a team talented like the Eagles with no linebackers at all. And then you go out, you sign a 1-year deal, and you go out and you play, you're going to get paid big time. Everything's in front of Devin White. All he has to do is go out and perform.
Yeah, we're only scared of this because of these 1-year deals that we're just afraid they're not going to be signed because the Eagles don't put much into that position.
Right.
And it showed this year that they are not high on drafting linebackers, really high on the draft on high demand. It's just that's the case. But I'm glad they at least, because I'm like, they have to get somebody in the draft, because I'm sorry, but I'm tired of the 1-year deals. And hopefully that's resolved after this year. And we have guys in here long term. And it's only Nakobe Dean that has no availability that's on a long-term contract. And now bringing Jeremiah Trotter in now, you have another guy on a multiple-year deal now. So you have guys like I don't want to keep swapping every year, finding new linebackers every single year. So hopefully this takes the cake where they see Zach Bond or they say Devin White's a piece that's a guy you need in your defense, and he has an amazing season. They got to pay him. I mean, they got to pay him.
Yeah, and listen, maybe Nakobe Dean, hopefully he comes back and he's healthy and he plays well, and then those two guys are solid. It's great. Or Trotter shows up and gets a chance to play, doesn't give back the starting job. I don't know, but I do know that I'm expecting Devin White to be at least Pro Bowl type level this year. I do.
I agree. Totally agree.
Yeah. Eminem says, why is everyone so down on Devin White? Even if he's not what he was, he's still way better than anything we had last year. Oh, yeah, he's better than anything we had last year, even now. I just think, people watch how he went from being, one of the best defensive players in the league to, losing his starting job. I think people look at that and they just write him off. But people forget he's not 32 years old. He's not 34. He's 26 years old. And a lot of it was, maybe he could have handled his contract and stuff differently, I'm sure. But, I think White's going to be huge. I think he's going to end up being the biggest sleeper offseason signing where nobody saw how the Eagles got him for what they got him for.
Yeah, I mean, you're nervous. You're nervous for the players. You're nervous for the coaches that are going to put the players to hopefully set them up to succeed. That's why, some players just don't have control over things, and they're put into certain situations. That's why that comment earlier about, these two DBs were ranked almost last or whatever it was. Right. It's like, dude, the fucking back end to this defense was still having issues with communication. I mean, when the play's about to start, as soon as the quarterback's getting the ball and Slay's talking to a guy behind, it's such late communication. I don't even know what was going on. That's got to get resolved. And that was a problem that we were having all year. So nobody was on the same page. It was just confusion on that back end. I mean, it was a travesty, dude.
It was unprecedented historical collapse. And that's the only way I know how to describe it. And I think with Fangio and even if you look at the other position coaches, look at the defensive line coach now we have. He was a former defensive coordinator last year. The linebacker coach they brought
Bobby
in
King,
Tennessee. I mean, they brought in some quality coaches. I don't think this is going to happen. I think think we're gonna have a big year, man. I'm telling you, I'm feeling really good about this season,
And
I can't wait.
and a really well, I would say an underrated piece for the offense coaching wise is Newsome, the quarterback coach that's been with Kellen Moore since Dallas to the Chargers, now with the Philadelphia Eagles. He's the one that puts the quarterback connection to the passing game together, from what I heard, and he's a big part. Like Kellen Moore is the X's and O's, and so how do you get these, for specific plays, who is the better fit for this specific play that's going to get the better success rate for us? And Newsome is the guy that's going to do that, to pick a specific wide receiver, tight end, running back going out for a pass or whatever to be successful in that play. So he's a really a big part of pushing these QBs, letting the QBs have control at the line, which Kellen Moore has said, Jalen Hurts will have more control at the line, which is a great thing. He did last year, but for really bad reasons and bad decision making, already in a bad scheme. So there's a lot of new pieces, but the Eagles had so much talent last year. They did so well, but they fell apart. But 2 new coordinators, and they still had a good record at the time at 10-1, and just. It only lasts for so long when teams figure you out, because if teams adjust to what you do and you don't adjust back to what they're doing to you, this is why we were at that standstill at the end of the year, and things had to change. And I know Jeffrey Lurie remember that playoff game, Jeffrey Lurie sitting in the press box, how disgusted he looked.
He was so mad.
And even Howie Roseman, like, everybody was sick to their stomachs over that season. Like, I couldn't believe we watched that for weeks. Like, me and you would get on the stream, and we just a big breathing, like a big sigh before we even start talking. Like, what is there to talk about? We're watching the same thing every single week.
No, that was historical. It was a historical collapse. But I think that this is not. I think that it's going to be way different. But yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. We're an hour and 25 minutes in. It felt like one giant rant, didn't it?
And the last thing I want to do is talk about last year, and I get it, but it wrecked us mentally, like how that went down last year, and we're hoping that I'm really proud of Jeffrey Lurie that listened to his players and really lets Howie be him and the moves that he makes in the offseason. So I think that's been really the biggest momentum change, was Jeffrey Lurie kind of not being involved in the draft and staying out of Howie's way, and let Howie just have full control over what he's doing. And I think that's what brings us these really good rosters, and taking sacrifices to go out and trade for a guy, even if it's going to cost you a lot of money, and keep your main trio intact for multiple years this year, with AJ Brown's new extension, Devontae Smith, and obviously Jalen Hurts got an extension a couple years ago. So it's last year. So it's great. But it comes down to this friggin' coaching staff, man. And Nick is like, I just don't want him to sneak into his hand to the cookie jar again, because I'm going to slap his hand or cut it off, one or the other.
To me, I'm not even worried about it. I don't think Nick Sirianni is going to have any say in anything. I don't think he's gonna just be there quiet. He's gonna be rooting and hollering and doing his thing that he does. But he's just the front man. The coordinators are running the show. I truly believe that. And I think we'll be fine. Now, if they come out and throw like 3 wide receiver screens with Devontae Smith out in front blocking, then you know who's doing it, and then we got big problems. But I don't think it'll be what it was. Hopefully, honestly, like there are good coaches who don't have control of
and that's fine.
Stuff. Yeah, I mean, Tomlin is one of those guys, and maybe that's just a better role for him, and he'll settle in and he'll be good. I don't hate Nick Sirianni. I don't hate him. I don't. I think that he did not know what to do in the case of what happened last year, and I think he needed help. They've got it, and we'll see. I would have let him go only because the historical loss and how everything happened was so bad. But they chose to keep him, and we'll see. I don't think I really think last year was like so brutal. I don't think it's going to happen again. I think it was one of those one of those things that happen once every 20, 25 years.
I will respect you more if you tell me that you're not good at something, and that's perfectly fine.
Right.
But when you try to, I could do this, and he reverts back to what he did in 21, but worse.
Right.
That's the issue I'm having. Like, he gets this ego thing, and doesn't.
I think
go ahead.
No, I mean, I just think he went to the Super Bowl. He thought he had a lot more leverage with the team and doing things than he did because, hey, I'm a Super Bowl coach. Hey, I'm 10-1 right now. I think that's what he thought, and it bit him in the ass. It did. So, listen, he was in the same position Doug Peterson was, and Doug Peterson said, nah, and they fired him. Nick Sirianni chose to stay. So we'll see. But, I mean, they've got experienced coordinators now. This is not going to happen again.
I really, I'll tell you right now, if I sense one bubble screen, or if I sense Jalen Hurts running with the ball in his hands like 6 plays straight, or they take out Saquon Barkley on a 3rd and short, 2nd and short, or something like that, there's going to be problems. It's going to be a lot of problems.
Believe me. You'll know when it's Nick Sirianni. You'll know when we're back to that again. Then we got major problems. But I don't believe that's going to be the case. But I mean, listen, we don't know. Let's see how it goes. I'm still trying to figure out: are they going to even play their starters? Are they going to get any work before the season starts this year? I mean, you got a game in Brazil on a Friday on Peacock. You got to be ready to play. That's a big game. These guys need to play. They need to practice. I'm glad that they had the 1 mandatory minicamp this year. They should have had 2 of them. They could have had 1 more. There was a whole nother week. They could have done a whole nother one. They didn't. So I still don't know if they're even doing enough right now.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, like I said, I think there's still ways to upgrade the roster. I think, we signed Chauncey before right before the season started. Like, there's always going to be something.
Roster's not done yet, dude.
No, I don't think so either.
It's not done. Even if they make a move in preseason, it's not done yet. We've seen this with Howie time and time again. He'll sign guys in preseason, I mean, dude, the Chauncey Gardner-Johnson trade that brought him, he came during what? Like, during preseason, like right before the first preseason.
Yeah.
Game. So it happens. We traded Jordan Matthews, remember, for Ronald Darby.
Yeah.
That was like preseason. We traded Stinkford, Bradford a week before the start of the season. Howie is far from done yet. This offense, team roster is not done yet. No,
I agree. And they have cap space right now. They still have
$27 million in cap space, dude.
Yeah.
You know what I could buy for $27 million?
Yeah, make sure if you want to know about cap space, come to this channel, by the way, because we know everything about the cap space.
Oh, yeah. I calculate the calculation of cornbread. And if you have cap space
right here,
you might want to try yourself a pre-order, a Cooper Dejean a shirt, or Howie Roseman. He's pimp hand strong. And what was it now? We got women's women's sizes and tank tops.
So, well, right now at the Philly Shakedown merch store, we have youth sizes, and now we have two youths. We have youth sizes, and now we have ladies have their own t-shirts now, which is good. And we're gonna have tank tops in the coming days. We have to call corporate to get that done. So
that's right. So it will be done, but it's there. Check it out. Link in description if you guys want to get the shirts.
Yes.
Death Row South, thank you for super chat. He goes, only thing cameraman Nick needs to do is checking on how he's getting his milk. If I see a clipboard, I'm turning the game off. Oh my god.
Cameraman Nick.
That's great.
Every time I talk about Nick, I see you make this face at me like, man, you hate this guy.
No,
you hate this guy so much.
I just start getting flash. I got post-traumatic stress disorder from last year. I just start getting flashbacks. I think about him. I can see him literally in my head yelling at the linebacker coach and Devontae Smith, or whoever he was yelling at, and Devontae Smith on the sideline. And then I think about him yelling at the Kansas City Chiefs fans. And I start thinking about the collapse, and every time you start,
he got
talking
full
about
of
him,
himself.
I go back. I go into like this thought about the whole season
Like
again.
I like when you're winning, that's the whole other thing. When you're winning, it's fine, but like when you're losing, like someone asks you, like when you're three consecutive losses, and are you changing the play calling? Are you trying to look for? He's like, no. It's like he looked so stressed. I mean, he looked like he needed a vacation. Like he was just mentally, like he was.
The only thing he did the whole season was pat Howie Roseman on the ass. What else has he done? He has been quiet. He hasn't had to do anything. You got the coordinators getting the players. The GM is out there doing the draft and everything else. All Nick has to do is clap and pat Howie on the ass. That's it. So I expect him to do that, manage the players, manage the personalities, and he let these guys do their job,
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping.
Every time you talk about it, I go flashback. I'm not like, oh, Joey, I'm like I just start seeing the whole collapse.
I want to put a hole in my wall. That's what I want to do.
Oh God, dude, if I wasn't married, this house would have been burnt down. I'd have burnt this shit down. Especially, I mean, the way you lose to the Cardinals, and then you lose to the
Seattle,
Giants, and all you had to do, you could have gone into Tampa Bay and probably go back to Super Bowl if you just started running the ball. If they just went to a run-first team, they would have won every game in the playoffs.
Because
what's crazy.
When you ran with DeAndre Swift, you had you brought this there was juice to the offense. There was they were on a roll, and then when they just stopped it, subbed them out, put Gainwell in, it made no sense. But I'm telling you right now, 3rd and 2, throw a 70-yard bomb down.
Well, it made no sense.
Go around.
It's so frustrating, dude. And I just remember AJ Brown walking. Remember the play Devontae Smith's out front blocking, gets hurt. AJ Brown's walking off, shaking his head, and then he's yelling at Hassan Reddick. I mean, dude, I want to kill the guy. So it's like I have flashbacks of the whole. I'm telling you, they're going to do documentaries on this. It's going to be like 30 for 30 on ESPN. The collapse. That's what they're going to call it.
Yeah.
I mean, it was bad. James Carver, thank you so much for super chat, my man. He goes, if you go back to 16-18 at LSU with Ed Orgeron, the exact same style and scheme of Fangio, and White's family issues are finally resolved. I didn't know he had family issues. Oh. White's going to get his bag in Philly, not to mention the link is like Death Valley at LSU. Yeah, I mean, that sounds perfect. Perfect. I think he's going to have a huge. I agree, James. I think he's going to be a monster this year. And my biggest fear is that they let him walk. Just don't let him walk. Sign him. But I'm with you, man. I think Devin White was a good, and I think Devin White's one of those guys that this collapse doesn't happen with. This collapse don't happen with him. This collapse don't happen with C.J. Gardner-Johnson. We got some of the right guys.
No, I mean with the players that have swag and have that pushback attitude, I just don't see if Bradbury getting bullied by the 49ers during pregame ritual, if that wouldn't have happened with those guys. I mean, that wouldn't have happened.
No.
Come on now.
Yeah, exactly.
Come on.
Exactly. Yeah, we'll see. It's going to be interesting, man. But is there anything else you want to talk about? We're almost 2 hours in. It was like a giant rant. I just feel like it should change the title. Philly Shakedown Podcast Rant, or put it on the thumbnail. Rant.
It's just frustrating, dude. It's a lot. That was a lot last year, and they changed so much that we're hoping for better things, but we hope they don't revert to their old ways again, and start putting this team towards the right direction with long stability.
Yeah.
For years to come.
That's what I want. I mean, and that's why I make such a big deal about the rookies playing, because I want to lock these guys in. I want them to play for years to come, So we'll see. But anyways, I mean, I guess that's pretty much it. I want to thank everybody for joining us. If you're on my channel, click the link, hit the link to Joey's site or channel, go sub them up. And I mean, we're pretty much, that's it. Thank you guys so much for joining. And should I play the ad and stuff? I have to load it back up because I got kicked out.
Yeah, do it.
That's fine. Cool. All right, guys. Well, we're going to let you guys go. And remember, Cooper Dejean shirts, all the merch in the link.
Yes.
With that said, we out of here. Have a great holiday weekend.
Mm-hmm.
You'll probably see us tomorrow in one way or the other.
Yeah.
Peace.
Peace. Oh, dude, what the fuck?
The Cooper! The flying
Oh my
Frenchman!
God. Oh my God.
C'est bon! I'm dizzy. We did it. We transformed the Philadelphia Eagles secondary. We now have a secondary that is going to be good for years to come. Because one, we got Quinyon Mitchell, but we also got the flying Frenchman, Cooper Dejean. That's right. The flying Frenchman, Cooper Dejean. C'est bon. Oh, here's another interception. That's right. Cooper Dejean is about to dominate the NFL. Can't wait to see him out on the field. And if you're like me and you thought this was a great move by the Eagles and you support this pick, then you definitely want to check out this shirt. The Cooper Dejean Flying Frenchman shirt. Look at this thing. You can see him in midair, flying through the air, transforming to an eagle. That's right. Cooper Dejean is here. Link is in the description. Get your shirt now while you can, because Cooper Dejean is about to take the Eagles to another level. Denzel Washington, out.
2 minutes to go. You have plenty of time.
Come on.
Oh, shit! Dad! No!
It's over. It's over. This game is over. Cut it off. It's over.
Fuck.
Congratulations, Green Bay. Congratulations, Green Bay. Congratulations, Green Bay.
I said run the ball.
Congratulations, Green Bay. Dak Prescott, you need to be fired today. That was on you, Dak. That was on you, Dak. That was on you, Dak.
I said run the ball.
That was on Dak Prescott.
Trying to feed him
Trying to defend the C Lamb. Trying to defend the C Lamb. You tried to defend the C Lamb. You got to give it to C Lamb. God. It's over. It's over, Dak. Put Trey Lance in the game. Trey Lance can't do worse than you.
I'm an idiot because I buy into this shit. I buy into this shit. Because here's the thing. I am a grown-ass man. And I talk the talk. It is killing me.
I feel it coming. I feel like it's going to take Jerry Jones taking